Welcome to this week's episode of the Middle Georgia Sports Live Show. I'm Braden Holder, and guess what, guys? This week we have Brett Taylor back on the show here to join us.
What's up, guys? So excited to be back. Been off for a couple shows, and appreciate Aiden for stepping in. And you'll see him throughout the year. And yeah, it's good to be back.
I'm glad Brett decided to finally join us. All right, so we're going to jump straight in to the fire today. We're not going to waste any of your time. We've been rolling for like 20 seconds. Let's go ahead and look at these girls' rankings, Brett. I know last time we posted rankings, I think it was January 11th. We've had a lot of stuff change since then. So, Brett, if you don't mind, let's start at number 10 and work our way up, and let's go through the rankings.
Yeah, so at number 10 for us, we have Central Fellowship Christian Academy. The Lady Lancers are 9-9 on the season. They're 0-4, ranked 5th in the region, but they beat Twiggs County and New Creation Christian. Beat Ace earlier in the season as well, and Ace has obviously been a very good team so far in our rankings. And so CFCA, they have some big wins. They also have some tough losses, close losses. So coming in at 10 is CFCA. Then you've got number 9, FPD at 11-9. Northside coming in at number 8, 13-7. Windsor at 7 with a 16-5 record. The Ace Griffins at 6 with a 14-4 record, 6-3 in their region. Westside coming in at 5, 15-4 on the year, 4-1 in the region. Westfield, the Lady Hornets have been outstanding so far this season, 15-4, 5-0, ranked second in AAA and GIAA. So great job for the Westfield Lady Hornets so far. They come in at 4. Mount DeSales 15-2 on the year. They come in at 3. And Warner Robins 18-3 on the season, 4-0 in the region. And then rounding out the top 10, number 1, Stratford, 17-3, 6-0 in their region this season. So starting from 10 to 1, you got CFCA at 10, 9 is FPD, 8 Northside, 7 Windsor, 6 Ace, 5 Westside, 4 Westfield, 3 Mount DeSales, 2 Warner Robins, and 1 Stratford. And Braden, we can go through some more specifics on each of these teams, but a very solid top 10 list. A lot of movement since obviously the first time we've done this, but we've seen some stellar play from some of these teams, and even some surprises that we didn't expect. Obviously, with as good as Westfield has been, Ace has been equally as good this year. Stratford has been dominant. We actually got to call a game of theirs up at Tatnall last week. So what a great top 10, and we can dig into the specifics of what makes each team top 10 team.
Yeah, man. So let's go ahead and talk about each team, like Brett said. Obviously, the biggest change from the last rankings to this is the addition of CFCA, and they do come in at that number 10 spot with the 9-9 record. Outside of the CFCA addition, I think the biggest change is Westfield moving up to number 4 from number 7. They beat Pacelli on the road. That was a big highlight for them. They also beat Strong Rock and Deerfield Windsor, but they did lose to Tift area on the road, and they moved to 4th in their region because of their region play. So let's go down and talk about some more of these teams. Obviously, Stratford has moved up to number 1, 17-3 on the season. They're first in the region. They have a 6-game winning streak going for them right now. They've beaten Piedmont, Mount DeSales, Tatnall, and John Millage by a lot. Kamaya Hudson is now at 369 points on the season, and they played at FPD this week. I know they got moved because of the ice storm, but we will try to get you some specifics on that on social media. At Warner Robins, they are on a 7-game winning streak. They beat Perry, Ware County, Wayne County, and Northside. Also this week, Kennedy Bradshaw celebrated 1,000 career points. It seems like every time we've done a show, we've talked about somebody celebrating 1,000 career points. And so that does tell you a lot about how good basketball is in our area. Mount DeSales is at number 3. They beat FPD again to seal the regular season sweep. They beat Tatnall and John Millage, but they did lose pretty big on the road at Stratford. So their only 2 losses on the season are to George Walton, who was in the state championship game last year, and Stratford, who is on a run this year. So we talked about Westfield. Let's move on to Westside at number 5. They dropped down to 3rd in the region after they lost to Callaway, and they're playing Morgan County tomorrow. That's another region game. So if they win that, they should move up in the region. They beat Howard, Pike County, Rutland, and Jackson. I was actually at the Howard game, and I got to see the dominating performance. Dominique Ballou had 26 points to seal the deal, and it was a great game, great atmosphere, great student section. Ace is 14-4. They did move down to number 6 because they lost to Central and Bleckley County. Those were region games. They beat Southwest and Northeast, though, and they are playing 3 teams. 3 of the teams that they have lost to, they are playing again in the next 2 weeks. They're playing Bleckley, Central, and CFCA. And so if you're Ace, you do have to win these games. I would think, Brett, to say what you need to say about your program. Windsor's number 7. They beat Flint River and Fullington, but they lost to Gatewood. They lost to Brentwood 81-43 at home, but they beat them 64-58 on the road. So that's kind of a story there. It's kind of opposite of what you think would happen. They lost pretty big at home, but they beat them on the road. Brentwood is only at, I think they're at 2 losses now on the season. Great program. We're probably going to see them in Columbus this year. Northside is at number 8. They beat Veterans in Houston County, but they lost again to Warner Robins this weekend in the Crosstown Showdown 2.0. FPD 11-9. They moved to 4th in the region after beating Tatnall and Piedmont. They did lose to Mount DeSales and John Millage, like we were talking about earlier. Another 1,000-point career to talk about, Bowen Matthews. A couple weeks ago, she celebrated 1,000 career points. And like I said, this is like the 5th or 6th, maybe 6th or 7th that we've talked about
Lord.
Since we've been doing shows of 1,000 career points, Brett. So,
And she's got a few years left to play, I think, so she could potentially get to even 1,500, maybe 2,000, who knows how far along she could get. But yeah, definitely a great performance for her over her career so far at FPD.
and then at number 10, we got CFCA. They beat Twiggs County and New Creation Christian. Try saying that 10 times fast. It's a tongue twister. Earlier in the season, they beat Ace. That's the season highlight for them. Kind of is why we pushed them to number 10 over Northeast or Central or some of those other teams with similar records and similar region play. They lost to Trinity Christian and Gatewood within this week as well. So we'll go down the list from 1 to 10 one more time. We got Stratford, Warner Robins, Mount DeSales, Westfield, West Side, Ace, Windsor, Northside, FPD, and CFCA. So we got a couple of games happening this week that are region games that are our teams playing each other, teams from the top 10 playing each other. And so we'll see what happens. We'll try to get you as much coverage of that as we can. But Brett, is there anything else we need to talk about when it comes to these girls' teams?
Well, I just think that it's going to be interesting to see how these teams fare in the playoffs as they move forward. Obviously, we're getting towards the end of region play. You got a lot of big matchups over the next couple of weeks. Some of these teams are playing against each other within our top 10, and we'll really see where they fall as they head into the region tournaments that they'll be in, and then where they'll be seated as they head into the state championship playoff and the state tournament. And it's just going to be all about who can get hot at the right time. That's really what basketball ends up being in February or March Madness, whatever you want to label it. But it will be exciting to see. I think we have a couple teams that are really contenders for state championships at the top. I think you probably got Stratford, Warner Robins, Mount DeSales. I think is going to make some noise. I really think Westfield can push. They're ranked number 2 right now in AAA. So, yeah, it's just going to be all about jockeying for position as they head towards region tournaments and state tournaments.
All right, yeah, I'm looking forward to these games coming up. But with that being said, let's take a break and we'll jump straight into boys' rankings. Welcome back to the Middle Georgia Sports Live Show, and without further ado, we're jumping straight into boys' rankings. Number 10, Ace. Number 9, Peach County. 8, Veterans. 7, Westfield. 6, FPD. 5, Mount DeSales. 4, Northside. 3, Warner Robins. 2, Southwest. 1, Houston County. So I know what you're thinking. The last time we posted rankings on January 11th didn't necessarily look like this below that number 2 spot. 1 and 2 have kind of been there all year, Houston County and Southwest. And so they're going to probably stay there, if I had to guess, through the rest of the regular season. But I know from 3 down looks way different than it did. So let's go ahead and talk about that. We'll start at the top, though. Houston County, 16-5, undefeated in the region. They're second place. They beat Northside, Coffee County, Veterans, and Lee County. Those were all region games. Southwest beats Ace, Bleckley, and Rutland. They also beat their rival Northeast in a packed-out home gym. That was a great environment. I didn't get to be there, but I saw a lot of videos of it, and it's always good to be able to do that. So Southwest is still at number 2. They're also 7-0 in their region. They're number 1. Warner Robins at number 3, 10-11 on the year. And we got to talk about Warner Robins for a minute because they were number 8 in the rankings last week. So They had 10 losses on January 11th. They only have 11 losses now. So they've came back. They've won a lot of games. They beat Perry, New Hampstead, Ware County, Wayne County, Benedictine. They did lose to Northside. They're a come-from-behind team that is showing that they can win the games that matter. They're winning these big region games, and they're going to make some noise, I feel like, in the region tournament coming up. And so they need to do that to be able to make a playoff run. Northside, number 4, 12-8, 2-4 in the region. They beat their crosstown rivals, the Demons, for the first time since 2021, and they split the regular season series in the Crosstown Showdown 2.0. They did lose to Veterans and Hoco, which were region games for them, which puts them at 4th in the region. Mount DeSales has moved up from number 10 to number 5. 11-6 on the year, 3-3 in the region. They lost to Tatnall and Stratford, but they beat John Millage and FPD. They actually swept FPD just like the girls did. FPD is at number 6. They're 11-9, 1-5 in the region. They're on a 5-game losing streak, so they've came down from that number 3 spot. They lost to John Millage, Tatnall, Mount DeSales, and Piedmont most recently. Westfield is at number 7. They're holding the number 7 spot. They're 11-8, 2-2 in the region. They lost to Pacelli and Deerfield Windsor. They beat Strong Rock and Tift area. That was a big road game that they were able to pull the win out. Veterans is number 8, 9-13 on the year. They beat Northside on the road. They lost to TCC, Lee County, and Houston County. Veterans is one of those teams. They're winning some of these region games. They're not winning some of the games. They're winning games you wouldn't expect them to win, but then they're losing games that you think they would win. And so that is going to hurt you moving forward in the playoffs if you don't get a handle on that. They're 1-6 now in the region. The only region win is the road win at Northside. Peach County has moved down to number 9. They were at 6 last week. They're 8-13 on the year, 1-5 in the region. They've lost region games this week to Westover, Monroe, and Doherty. And then 10 is Ace. So Ace was at 9, now they're 10. Just kind of bounced down one more. They're 8-10, 2-7 in the region. They lost to Southwest, Central, Bleckley County, and Northeast. Those were all region games. So Brett, let's go through one more time and point some things out about some of these boys teams and what we think is going to happen moving forward in region play in the playoffs.
Well, I think right now Houston County has a stranglehold on that region. I know it shows their second. Looks like they've got some matchups coming up with potentially Thomas County Central in that region because it doesn't look like they have faced off against them yet. So they're a dangerous team with the guards that they have and just how electric they are. They're just going to be tough to handle, I think. Southwest kind of in the same thought process there. And I think basketball, especially when it comes to tournament time, and I said this before on a previous show, a lot of times it comes down to, do you have that guy who can go get you a bucket whenever you need it? And I think Southwest has that guy. And Warner Robins is rounding into form at 10-11. As you said, they've won like 6 or 7 games out of the last 7 games or so. They did lose to Northside. It was a close loss, and the first time they've lost to Northside in a while. But I think they're trending up, which is, Coach Garman over there does such a good job. You would expect him to have his Demons ready to play as they head towards the playoff. I think Northside, they've got a lot of talent. It looks like they're a little young, but got to see them play Hoco earlier in the year, and they were very athletic. They had some shooters. They didn't quite have the same guard play. It looked like they did have some youth there, so maybe some of that is growing up, and that will help them as they get into the postseason play. And then as you see Mount DeSales, FPD, they're just going to be jockeying. It always seems like the Macon schools, they kind of beat up on each other. You've got Mount DeSales has lost to Tatnall and Stratford, but they beat FPD, and FPD has kind of lost to those 3, or has lost to Mount DeSales and Tatnall, but they've also beaten some good squads. Westfield's just kind of hanging on right now, I think. They got off to a hot start, but they have lost some games. They obviously took one on the chin pretty bad against Pacelli, but most people do, and they're not in the same class as far as Pacelli's in 4A, Westfield's in 3. So I think Westfield can be a dangerous team in the playoffs. They have looked very good running their sets, running their offense under Coach Brett Hardy, and it's going to come down to them making shots from the outside. I think that's really their when they're making shots from the outside, that's what kind of keeps them in games or allows them to extend leads. We've seen them lose a lot of close games this year, though, but they've also won a couple where right at the end on the buzzer beater. Veterans, I think, is a dangerous team. Any team that can hang with and beat some of the teams that they beat, like a Northside on the road or Warner Robins, they've got some, the ability to be very dangerous as they get into the playoffs. Peach County, I also think, is dangerous. They've got to get in there as they're sixth in the region, but if they can, like last year, we saw them win a game, push in their second round game as well. So, and then Ace rounded out there. They lost to Southwest and Central, Bleckley County and Northeast, but they're 2-7 in the region right now. They've got to finish up strong in the region playoffs in the region regular season, and then see if they can't catch fire in the region playoffs and see how far they can go. But I think right now you would feel confident in saying that Houston County and Southwest are really hoping that they can make deep runs. That's kind of an expectation, I think, for those two. And then some of the rest of them, I think, are looking to see, hey, can we get hot? Can we find a shooter who's blazing that can carry us a little bit? Can we just round into form and maybe things fall together and click? I really think that's probably what Warner Robins is looking for right now. Can all those dominoes that we've been working so hard to have fall into place, can they fall into place at the right time? And it's going to be fun to see how all this kind of plays out. Wonder if we're going to see the Patriots Southwest back at the Centerplex this year, or maybe a new face that we haven't seen, like a Houston County or a Warner Robins make a deep run again. So again, that's pretty much my analysis there. Braden, I don't know if you have anything to add there, but it should be an exciting end of this season.
Yeah, I'm excited to see, like I said, as we round off region play, like we said about Houston County and Southwest, I think those two teams are going to make the playoff runs. Like you said, those are the teams that we expect to go far, that we expect to hopefully see in Macon this year. But with that being said, we'll take a break, and we'll be right back on the Middle Georgia Sports Live Show. Welcome back to the Middle Georgia Sports Live Show. We're going to talk a little bit about the NFL and the conference championship weekend that we just saw. Obviously, in the AFC, we had a defensive struggle for the Patriots, but they secured a road win in Denver, holding them to one touchdown. Drake May scored the go-ahead touchdown, and the defense sealed the game after a second quarter fumble. Brett, I know you were watching that game. Brett was texting me back and forth, and I think a span of 5 minutes, it went from bright and sunny to you couldn't even see in front of you snow.
Yeah, it was nasty. And not a whole lot of, I even said with about probably 4 minutes to go in the third quarter, I was like, I don't know if anybody's going to score again in this game. And sure enough, they couldn't kick field goals. Nobody really did a whole lot. Denver had a chance there at the end with a field goal to tie it, and it went wide left. I think it did get blocked a little bit at the line.
Yep, it did.
And made it go wide left. And, yeah, it was nasty. It's not ideal to play a conference championship in. And unfortunate for the Denver Broncos, I think, because if you play that with Bo Nix and without the weather, you're probably pretty confident that the Broncos win that. If you played 10 times, they probably win 7 out of the 10. But for the Patriots and the Patriots fans out there, it only matters what happened last Sunday. And they took advantage, and they've got an opportunity to win another Super Bowl, win another World Championship, and this time without Belichick or Tom Brady. Who would have thought that a few years ago when Tom Brady went down and won a ring down in Tampa Bay? And but hey, they do have a little bit of that legacy still there with the coach, and he's kind of bringing that magic back up there in Foxborough. And then you transition to the NFC. Exciting game out there on the West Coast with Seattle and the LA Rams, and the Seahawks get it done. And who would have thought that Sam Darnold, wow, would have ended up being out of they showed the draft class of those quarterbacks. It was the likes of like Lamar Jackson and that group, and he's the one who goes to the Super Bowl the first time out of all of those. So
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing to see, but Seattle's got a really good defense. They seem to have a lot of explosive weapons on offense, and if they can keep Darnold upright, he seems to have found the ability to get the ball out. They've got Smith-Jigba, I think is his name. And
Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yeah, and Jigba. And
yeah, he led the offense.
He's
for
an
sure.
amazing player. He played at Ohio State. He was really good when he was in college. and he's just done nothing but take off. And you can definitely tell that they're an explosive team. So it'll be interesting to see. I think it's going to be more of a defensive battle with the Patriots versus a high-powered offense with the Seahawks, and we'll see what wins out. But I tell you what, it's been a crazy end of the football season. Indiana obviously going and winning it. You called that.
I did call that. At the beginning of the playoffs, I called the Rams and the Patriots in the Super Bowl. I'm obviously wrong on the NFC side there. But I can't say that I'm disappointed because the Seahawks have played some great football. He just talked about Jackson Smith and Jigba. He had 10 catches for 153 yards and a touchdown. We got to say him and Sam Darnold were kind of the MVPs there, helping Seattle edge past the Rams in what was a really high-scoring game. But I'm excited for February 8th, man. It's going to be a great Super Bowl. And what's our predictions here, Brett?
I'm going to go with the Seahawks, I think. It's a rematch of a few years ago when Malcolm Butler made the incredible interception on the goal line. Yep. And everybody was sending out the blindside memes of just run the dang ball at the 1 yard line when you've got beast mode. But, yeah, we'll see. It'll be exciting to see if what wins out in that clash of kind of contrasts of offense versus defense. But I'm going to have to go with the Seahawks. I think that they're going to get it done, but I would not be surprised if we get a low-scoring affair and somehow the Patriots pull one out. It really just depends on kind of how the ball bounces there. But yeah, that's my prediction. I'm going to go with the Seahawks.
I'm not confident in either one of these defenses, and I know people are going to call me crazy for that, talking bad about Seattle's defense. Look how many points got scored on Sunday. I'm not confident also in the Patriots defense after Sunday, but then again, the weather had a lot to do with that. Big B is going to call the Patriots winning the Super Bowl. He's sticking with his gut on this one. And I will see you guys on the other side when I have successfully called the college championship and the NFL Super Bowl.
Hey, right now it's the matchup predictor is 60% Seattle, 40% New England, but it's only a +1 on the line, so it could go either way. I think that's kind of what everybody feels right now, but I would not be surprised if Braden's right. I'm going to go with the Seahawks just to be devil's advocate there, but I'm sure on the next, or at least the show after that Sunday, we'll find out who's right.
Yep, we will. Make sure you guys follow Middle Georgia Sports Live on Instagram and Facebook. Those will give you the quickest updates to everything that we do. You'll be able to see the rankings. You'll be able to see final scores from around the area as they come in. And thank you guys for joining us today. We'll see you guys on next week's episode of the Middle Georgia Sports Live Show.